Good morning, everyone. Madam Secretary General, CTO, esteemed panelists here in Samoa, Ioana, Madam Regulator, Ioana, Madam CEO, MCIT, Ioana, Chair and Deputy CEO, and esteemed members. My presentation for today is titled Success Factors for Building ICT Capacity, Digital Skills for a Digital Nation. Next slide. I could go back to the slides, just the slides, please. Yeah, just you can put it into slide mode, that's presentation notes. All right. Okay. Next slide. All right. So the focus of my presentation today is on the role of the education sector in building ICT capacity, digital skills, and literacy. To contextualize, we begin by identifying the various success factors in building ICT capacity. Then on to a discussion of the issues and challenges. We then look at various initiatives in the education sector within the framework of these success factors, and then end with a summary and conclusion. Next slide. So we begin by identifying the following as critical success factors for building ICT capacity, digital skills for a digital nation, namely the policy frameworks, regulation and standards, connectivity, knowledge platforms, the educational programs, projects and innovation, and research and evaluation. Next slide. So in any development, there are issues and challenges which affect the implementation of any development or adoption. And within the education sector, the following were some of the challenges that were encountered. And I think some of these have been named already. Access to devices, cost of the internet, the connectivity and network congestion, inadequate teacher training and technical support, inadequate technical skills and knowledge, the lack of opportunities for disadvantaged, disability and rural, technology adoption in terms of underutilization, and during COVID, teacher and student engagement, mental health and parental support. Next slide. So what are the strategies and innovations implemented by the education sector to build ICT capacity? Well, we now look at these within the framework of the success factors we have identified, as well as to offset or mitigate the challenges that we have encountered. We begin the policy framework. In terms of policy frameworks, Samoa did an early start to its regulatory framework, as mentioned by the regulator, by opening up the competition through deregulation, establishment of the national ICT policies, broadband, cybersecurity, email and internet usage, etc. So building ICT capacity of the national workforce has always been and continue to be a priority area in all policies at the national sector and institutional level. Now, as seen in the current slide, and in the next few slides, if you go through the next few slides, please, you can see this for yourself, the alignment of the various policies at the different levels, and the commitment to building the ICT capacity for the national workforce. So you see we go from the pathway of development to the national, to the sector and institutional level, as you can see up there. All right, the next one, standards and accreditation. Now, setting standards for skills and training is important, and in the education sector, this has been achieved through the work of the SQA, which is the Samoa Qualifications Authority, who set the qualifications framework for all education and training programs for PSET providers from certificate to the PhD level. As well, standards for ECE primary and secondary are set by the Ministry and their various teacher councils. While at the National University, the internal standards for all programs are set by the NUS Senate and the Academic Joint Subcommittee. Next slide. Okay, now on to connectivity. Connectivity is a critical component for accessing both internal, external networks, information and services for building the ICT capacity programs. In terms of connectivity, NUS has made substantial upgrades to its infrastructure since COVID, with a fiber optic backbone across each individual campus, supplemented by wireless. The 4 campuses are connected by a wide area net. 2 ISP providers, Voda and Digi. We're also connected to the Samoa National Broadband Highway to ensure local connectivity to various agencies. And in the area of broadcasting, NUS has established its radio and TV station accompanied by an infrastructure upgrade. Okay, next slide. The Ministry of Education, there have been previous connectivity and e-learning projects, such as the SchoolNet and the CSL projects for internet for primary schools. However, in recent times, we have the MESC MCIT project providing internet initially to 20 schools, but now in the process of being extended to 146 schools via VSAP. Other connectivity projects include the CETA e-learning providing Moodle and connectivity to 7 schools, and the Yatean Pacific e-learning project for science funded by NZA MFAB. Next slide. We now come to platforms. Now, platforms are knowledge platforms are essential, providing access to valuable information and repositories of knowledge. At the national level, we have the Samoa Knowledge Society Initiative with its 3 components, the digital library, the research repository, and the lifelong learning platform. At the sector level, and this is work in progress, is the CENIS, set up to share aggregated data across the 3 agencies, as well as provide monitoring and evaluation across the sector. Also at the sector level is the radio and TV broadcasting stations for both NUS and the ministries, used since COVID for the delivery of multimodal learning. As well at the institutional level is the MESC UNESCO-funded OER repository for access to open educational resources. And at NUS, we have the NUS Digital Library and the CSS Digital Collections, mostly on things Samoan. We also have the NUS, MESC, and the SQA websites or portals, all which have undergone considerable upgrades in recent years. Next slide. Next, we move to programs and training in ICT and computing. And in terms of capacity building, the following are the programs offered in the area of computing and ICT to build capacity. Now, within the ministry and school system, there is a national computer studies curriculum for secondary schools, and computer studies is an examinable subject in the 2 national exams. The curriculum includes computer applications as well as some basic programming. The ministry also hosts on its websites educational resources developed under UNESCO and the Government of Japan funds. Computer literacy and computer-aided learning is also offered in some primary schools, but there is no formal national curriculum. Next slide. The National University, the university offers a variety of programs, academic programs. NUS offers certificate, diploma, bachelor up to master's level, and with the majors in computing and applied computing, and content in these programs, including the following areas that you can see listed above. Postgraduate and master's programs have now been accredited by SQA, and the rest of the programs are in the final stages of their accreditation. In the TVET space, NUS offers certificate and diplomas in computer operation and office management. NUS also has 2 academies which cater for the industry level certifications. These are the Cisco Academy, offering CCNA semester 1 to 4, and the CIT Academy, established under the Government of India funding and offers courses in advanced application. Now, in addition to this, NUS also offers short-term training and workshops in ICT and computing upon request from ministries and corporations. Next slide. Now, most of the innovative projects and initiatives within the education sector have been funded externally. And these key initiatives focus on building resilience in education system, so to ensure teaching and learning continuity within the increasing vulnerable and high-risk environment in which we exist. Another important point to note is that several of these projects are research and evaluation projects, which is one of the critical success factors highlighted in this presentation. Research is very important to inform the quality of our teaching. Next slide. Just the following is a list of the NUS projects to date. Next slide. So we'll just have a look at some of them one by one. The Cartel project, funded by the Commonwealth of Learning, and the main activities for this included a baseline study, TEL and OER policy formulation, capacity building workshops, the setup of infrastructure, and then an impact study. And the recommendations from the two evaluations have been used to improve the infrastructure, access, and Moodle support for staff and students ready for COVID. Next slide. Next project is the Samoa Knowledge Society Initiative. And as mentioned earlier, it stands for, SKSI stands for the Samoa Knowledge Society Initiative, national project with multiple partners, of which NUS is one, funded by the UN and the India Development Fund. And the aim of the SKSI was to build a knowledge society with those three component platforms. Next slide. Potential benefits of these knowledge platforms is manifold, such as access to credible information, establishment of a open access research repository for storing research finding in areas of national interest and priority, as well as the lifelong learning platform with Moodle LMS and the Skills for Work project. The SKSI has been piloted in the education sector at NUS and is planned to be extended to the rest of the ministries and the community via external connectivity, as well as the SNBH. And at later stages, the plan is to provide access to the community via the development of mobile apps. Next slide. Now, two major infrastructure audits were conducted at NUS between 2018-2021, internal and external audit, and the evaluation and findings of these audits have been used in the infrastructure upgrades which are ongoing. Next slide. The next project, the Moodle Implementation Work Plan. This refers to the implementation of the NUS work plan for transitioning to online learning when Samoa went into lockdown 2020 and 2022. And just listed there were the key considerations that we had to consider as we moved into this transition, which you can see up there. Next slide. And the next slide just gives you an idea of the key tasks and activities that we had to implement as we transition from hybrid to fully online learning and also multimodal. Next slide. Now, in summary, the Moodle implementation work plan provided much needed transition to emergency teaching through Moodle and was highly successful as NUS went from 30% to 100% online. I also want to point out that in addition to this, we also implemented learning across multiple modes through print, radio, offline, and online. The Skills for Work project is the next project, collaboration between CAL, NUS, and the three major online platforms, Coursera, Google, and Udemy. And the aim of this project was to provide online opportunities for those who had been denied educational opportunities as a consequence of COVID. And under this project, 900 learning opportunities have been offered to be taken over a period of 3 years with a cohort of 150 biannually. We are now into cohort 4 of the 6 cohorts. Next slide. Research in ICT curricula is important for improving the quality and relevance of the curricula. And these studies that have been conducted at NUS include what we call the Rinke survey, the relevance of computing curricula to industry, which is conducted every 3 to 4 years, and the recommendations from this are used for improving the curricula. Other studies include the evaluation of Notepad as a Java programming environment, evaluation of the effectiveness of Moodle, as well as looking at student programming errors in Java, to mention a few. Now, with an increasing focus on building secure, resilient environments, a key project initiated in 2022 was the Risk Assessment Project to assess risk in the area of data and information security based on the findings of an earlier risk audit report from Cyber 365. Assessment and recommendations in the risk audit report currently inform security strategies, which are now being currently implemented. Next slide. The COVID lockdown 2020-2022 highlighted the need for the offering of a secure online exams, especially when students were taking exams remotely. In response to this, NUS has trialed 2 online proctoring software, Integrity Authenticate and Proctorio, taking into account current requirements for NUS. The preliminary findings have indicated IA as the OPS of choice for now, Proctorio for later as the university requirements and population grows. Slide. The most recent project undertaken by NUS is the trial of an AI-powered help desk for Moodle. This pilot project is a collaboration between NUS and the Commonwealth of Learning, and trials are to commence within the coming weeks. And it is hoped that this help desk will alleviate the workload of the ICT help desk as well as the instructors. Next slide. Now, there have been numerous initiatives taken within the ministry and the school systems, and I'll just mention some of them. Of course, the earlier one, the SchoolNet ADB funded project, which provided connectivity and resources to 22 schools. And then the Lifelong Learning platform under the SKSI project, which provided Moodle and teacher training in technology-enabled learning. There is the ICT in Education in Samoa project funded by UNESCO and the government of Japan, which provided teacher and student training, intel, as well as the establishment of the OER repository. Next slide. Moving on. Education sector COVID response project funded by UNICEF and global partnerships, which led to the development of the COVID response, multimodal programs, and the training, including inclusive of Moodle. There was the MESC multimodal response pre-COVID for TV radio programs. As mentioned earlier, other valuable initiatives included the Pacific e-learning, the CETA-funded e-learning program, the SEMIS, and the connectivity project by MCIT. Slide. In the areas of research in ICT in education at NISC, there was a 2018 study on the evaluation of the use of tablets, applets in 28 primary schools. And the study evaluated the adequacy of training, level of usage of the devices and programs, as well as the ease of use and usefulness by teachers and students. And the findings of this study recommended a planned and integrated approach, more devices, more training, better instructional and technical support. Next. So in summary, these are the strategies that have been adopted to build resilience. As you can see, most of the strategies that are listed here have already been covered under the strategies to mitigate the challenges, and also under the various success factors crucial for building ICT capacity. Next. So in conclusion, I would like to finish off by saying that our journey within the education sector in terms of providing ICT capacity building in terms of ICT and digital knowledge and skills has been full of challenges. However, we strive to provide the ICT capacity for an ICT literate workforce to support Samoa's digital journey, leveraging digital transformation to realize all our national goals. I want to finish off by congratulating MCIT for the launch of the recent launch of the ICT sector plan, which will form the blueprint for all our initiatives within the next few years. And on that note, I'd like to end my presentation. Thank you for your attention.